everybody. Welcome to another episode of Chamber Chat. I've got another guest in the car with me today, and I'm going to let her introduce herself, and we'll kick it off from there.
My name is Jackie Shaw from Get Organized.
So, Get Organized. Sort of the name kind of implies what you do, but for the dozens of people that are going to be watching this.
Our mission statement is to increase the happiness in the world by helping business owners deal with their stuff. Focus on finance, HR, and operations systems. Client base national, but we love the local folks.
That's good.
Yeah.
And so, in a nutshell, that sounds huge. But what do you, if I'm like, hey, I want Jackie to come work with me,
right.
What does that look like?
There's like three paths. The
Okay.
first one is I'm a brand new entrepreneur. I know I don't know anything about accounting, and I want someone to help me get it set up correctly from the beginning.
Right.
The second scenario is, I'm a business owner. My accounting is a complete disaster. Sometimes even the CPAs will say, we're not doing your taxes anymore unless you work with Jackie, right?
Oh,
and so
that's good.
When things get really bad, you come to me. I get everything cleaned up and organized, potentially training the bookkeeper or whoever's taking care of things so everything's done correctly.
Mm-hmm.
And what I've been doing more and more is actually also creating standard operating procedures to start that accounting procedure manual. So if you have new staff, it's not like it's going to go off course again. And then the third piece is folks hire me to be the controller or CFO. And so every month or every quarter, I'm looking at reports, talking to business owners about financials, all that fun stuff.
So of those three different things, obviously you could do any of them. What do you do more of? Is there one that stands out?
Oh, cleaning up the disasters.
Yes, I bet it does.
Absolutely.
What's a disaster? What would you say is a disaster? If someone's watching this now and they're like, you know what? Yeah, we seem to have a handle on it, but not really. What does a disaster look like?
One of the telltale signs is if the business owner says, I don't even use my financials because I know they're wrong. Oh, ouch.
Yeah.
Like, the financials tell the story of your business in numbers. To understand your business, you have to be able to understand the financials, and they have to make sense. And so we'll often see, just complete chaos. The owner's not looking at them.
Right.
Like I said, sometimes the CPA is like, listen, you might not realize this is a disaster, but we do, and you've got to get it dialed in.
So who contacts you typically?
Usually it's the business owner contacting me, or the bookkeeper reaches out and says, we know we've got a mess. We need your help getting it cleaned up.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, so really you don't ever show up when it's going well. Is that fair?
Oh,
Sort of.
Am I one of those consultants?
You're like the fire department.
I am the superhero. I am Mr. Wolf from Pulp Fiction. I show up.
Good reference.
At the right.
That's a great reference.
I'm going to do a photo shoot this coming year. I'm going to dress up as Mr. Wolf. I've got my props already. And so, yes, normally when I come in, it's because there's a problem. And sometimes the problem is the bookkeeper they lost their bookkeeper from cancer or death, and they're like, well, Jackie, we don't know what to do. We don't know what anything looks like. So it's all of those kinds of things that can happen, emergencies. I get called in for those. But usually when I show up on site and everything is beautiful, it's because we've been through this process together, and now I'm working as their controller.
So there's probably, a fair amount of, what's the word, kind of like forensic work that you have to do, right? I mean, if it's almost like you don't know what you don't know. So for you to go in, I mean, for some people running a business, it's hard enough to find your own finances, let alone sort of an outsider coming in and like, where the heck do you even start?
Well, everything starts with the balance sheet. And so what I ask is that they provide third-party documentation for every one of those balance sheet accounts, right? There's bank statements, loan statements. There's got to be proof. And that's something everybody should do every year-end anyway before it goes to the CPA. You can't expect your CPA to act like your controller and make sure that stuff's correct. What's going to happen in the middle of tax seasons, they're going to get your mess and go, well, here's some journal entries to try to make it look less messy. Moving on to the next project. Yeah. And that's, one of the big things about working with CPAs is you have to allow them to talk to you and give advice in like July, in November,
instead of April 13th. April 13th, April 14th. So when you go in, you reference that part of two of the three is you don't just go in, clean up, and then all right, see you later. You stick around, or you have at least the ability or the option to stick around. Do you prefer that, or do you prefer kind of the fixing, show them how to do it. I mean, obviously, if you're training people, it's great to train people and then let them do it.
Yeah. So I like to train people to do things correctly, and then pretty much set them free. Sometimes I'll start with monthly reviews, and I'll be giving feedback to the people doing the work, and then we'll move to quarterly reviews, and then it might turn into only annual. Or they go off and do their own thing, and then they know I'm out there, and they touch base once in a while, and maybe a few times a year we have a meeting, and they go through their Ask Jackie list. Like, bing, 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 these are the things we're not sure about.
It's the theory about teach a man to fish, kind of that deal, right?
Yeah.
Show them how to do it, and they'll just keep doing it, hopefully.
And I tell actually everybody that works in administration and accounting that you should make yourselves dispensable. One of your jobs should be to create all the documentation that if you get hit by the ice cream truck, the business will survive.
Yeah.
And so everybody out there that's in administration and accounting, this is one of the skill sets that you can bring to the table and that makes you even more valuable, not less valuable.
I was going to say, I think that's the misconception, right? Is if they can get rid of me tomorrow, or if there's a need for me not to be here tomorrow, then I will not be here tomorrow. So that's got to be kind of a hard transition as well. You got to be like part psychologist too, right? Part therapist.
Oh my goodness!
When you walk into these places.
Not only am I lucky that I took some psych courses in college, I'm lucky I've been to a therapist because I use those skills every day.
Right. So you go into these places, and obviously, when we talk about rates and stuff, we won't get into all that stuff now. But it's I think people need to understand you're not becoming a member of their staff. You're not like it's not like you come in and be an employee. It's not something, there's obviously a cost associated with it, but it's not something that necessarily needs to be for years and years and years.
Oh,
right?
yeah. And there's clients that I've been working with them for 8 or 10 years because I'm working as a controller now.
Yeah, if you're good at it.
And so I hang out with them every quarter, and we, make sure everything's on track, and they've got beautiful financials because of it, right? And so, no, I'm not, and that's one of the big misconceptions too is pricing. If you're paying anywhere between $25 and $40 for a contract bookkeeper, they're not a bookkeeper, they're a data entry clerk.
Oh, yeah.
They don't have the skills.
Yeah.
Bookkeepers, $50 to $75 an hour, that's what you should expect, including payroll processors. They should be in that range. Controllers like me, now you're talking about $75 to $150 an hour for this local area. And then for me, with my national clients, I actually have this depth of skill set with the remodeling industry.
Right.
And because of that, there is a premium for that, and the rates are a bit different for me, especially at the national level. But I think that people should know that there's resources out there. It doesn't have to be a forever thing. There are people out here like me that can help them get things cleaned up, set up, fixed up. I think one of the biggest things that business owners miss too is doing professional development for their accounting and administrative staff. Bureau of Labor and Industry has some great seminars that you can take, and they're not very expensive.
Right.
Working with me to get one-on-one training. All of these things, you're going to keep the good employees longer if you help them beef up their resume and feel better and are learning new things. Most people like to learn new things. They don't like to stagnate.
Right.
So giving them the opportunity to grow as a professional is a huge benefit. And unfortunately, too often people are like, oh, well, administration's a cost center. We want it to be as cheap as possible.
Right.
Well, you're going to get those results, right? Cheap as possible makes cheap.
So when you go in there, and I sort of putting you on the spot, maybe you can't answer, maybe you can. What are maybe the top 3 generic issues that you see when you walk into a place? They're not simple fixes, obviously, but is it like, man, this could be avoided? It's so easy if you just done this.
Yeah, one of the big things is paying no attention to the balance sheet. Your bookkeeper might be reconciling, but reconciling is less about checking the box saying, yeah, that's on the bank statement, and more about saying what didn't clear. I'll go in and I'll find like a payroll tax payment from 2017 that never cleared, and I'm like, that should have been like a red flag emergency. Like the moment you didn't see it clear, you should have investigated.
Right.
And that's again the distinction between more of a data entry clerk and a bookkeeper. A good bookkeeper is going to make sure that anything that isn't clearing is investigated, and we find out why and what's going on. So I tell people when I go to do a balance sheet cleanup, which is always part of the process, I find between $30,000 and $300,000 that doesn't belong on your balance sheet. And so that is often one of the big things, is people aren't making sure that their balance sheet is accurate.
Well, and ultimately, and it may be a weird way to phrase it, but it may be bad news off the bat, but you need to know this stuff, right? This isn't something, for example, the IRS would be like, oh, all right, you get it next time. Don't worry about it this time. We got it this time. They don't operate like that.
No, and what happens is, so let's say you've got a whole bunch of expenses that never cleared. Well, those were written off on prior year tax returns. But they never cleared, so they weren't real.
That's right.
And then when you reverse them out, you add all this extra income to that year, to the current year, to make up for all the expenses that were written off incorrectly in the prior years. And so that's the kind of thing that could bump somebody up into a different tax bracket.
Yeah.
Like, we don't want that.
And the last thing you want is audits.
And the last thing we want is audits. So here's some great ways to get audited.
Yes, please tell us.
Let's make a list.
All right.
So giving someone a W-2 and a 1099 in the same year. So you can't have an employee that's also a subcontractor.
Right.
Or take, if you have people, that's another one of the big things I see. A lot of people are treating people that should be employees as subcontractors, which can get you in a whole lot of trouble with so many state and federal agencies, we can't even talk about it.
Sure.
But when you're dealing with a subcontractor and you realize they need to be an employee, there's ways of dealing with that mid-year so you don't end up with a 1099 and a W-2. So that's one of them. Putting things in the incorrect expense account, but that probably seems like,
simple as that.
Yeah, it's not that big of a deal. But the IRS compares your financials to the industry standards. On your tax return, it actually says what industry you work in. And you don't probably notice it because, the CPA is doing your taxes.
Right.
But they'll look at, and so they will audit you if your expense lines exceed sort of the average for your industry.
So if you have
that could turn into a red flag.
Yeah, 150% above average of entertainment. That's going to be...
Which is now a non-deductible expense, folks.
Entertainment is?
Yep. The current administration has decided a few things that you need to know about. This is as of the 1/1 of 2018. Entertainment is no longer deductible, so you can't take your clients out to a baseball game.
Write it off.
Right? And write it off. That entertainment piece is non-deductible. The food you can still pay for. And you can still take your employees out for a team building exercise and go like frisbee golfing and pay for all of it.
Right.
Meals. The current administration says no more coffee, tea at the workplace. It's only 50% deductible now. You can't treat it like an office supply.
So
you have to treat it like meals.
So between you and me, how do we get around this?
I know, right?
We'll just can you tell me afterwards?
I will. We'll talk later. It's
so when you go in your life has to be like, how do you not pull your hair out? I mean, this drives me insane doing it like for our own business, just one business. I mean, yes, there's maybe if it's not your business, there's a sort of detachment, but holy smokes, my liver would take a pounding if I had your job.
Does it help you to know that when I'm on vacation, when I'm waiting in line anywhere, I'm playing solitaire? I just love to put stuff in order. I love it. And this is all putting things in order.
I will say your office, when you come in and you got the door open and stuff, it's pretty organized.
Doesn't it look beautiful?
Your room is about the most organized place in the building.
Secret, it's not actually my office. My office is at headquarters. I keep that place looking exceptionally beautiful, don't I?
Oh, you just ruined it now. All right, I was trying to give you credit, but now I'm taking it all away.
No, I'll be honest. That's more of a conference room, private conference room.
Yeah.
And then my staff uses it. But the staff is great. They all know, like, put everything away when you're done. Keep it looking beautiful.
It does. You could, like, literally, like, do surgery in there. It's the most amazing room. All right, let's change gears a little bit.
Yeah.
So, part of Chamber Chat is, we want to know about the business. We want to know about Go and stuff like that. But we also want to know about you, right?
Yeah.
And I'm sure you've done your research. You've watched dozens of these to prep for this.
Dozens.
Yeah. Yes, yes, I'm sure. And you stayed awake through all of them, and so I want to start asking stuff about you.
Great.
Like, for example, I always start with I got to come up with a better first question. It's always favorite food.
Oh, Thai.
Is it really?
Yeah.
What's your favorite dish?
I just like everything.
Oh,
yeah.
anything Thai is good?
Yeah, just about anything Thai is good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Favorite Thai restaurant?
Funny enough, it's the Woodsman, which is like a 2-minute walk from my house.
Okay.
A lot of people might not know this, but the Woodsman in Portland has some amazing Thai food.
Yeah.
Absolutely amazing.
Nice.
So I do realize that it's outside of the Corvallis area, so I'll pick one. In Corvallis,
It's a
one of my
little
favorite
awkward.
places to eat is
Please be a
coriander.
I just ate there yesterday for the first time with Sarah Spangler.
So it's not really Thai food necessarily.
No, but it's awesome.
But it's amazing.
It
and
is
they
pretty
have
good.
Thai iced tea. So
And they have a $12 lunch special with a plate, and I'm not kidding. This thing is like this big. I could put away some food, but I didn't finish. You can ask Sarah.
Yeah.
Yeah, did not finish yesterday.
And I like the beef bulgogi. And I learned about the beef bulgogi from the lovely yoga guru in town, Lisa Wells. We went there for lunch one day, and she ordered that, and I'm like, I'll just get that too. And now I can't stop eating it.
There you
Like
go.
I don't know how long it'll be before I actually max out on beef
do
bulgogi.
something else. What is the worst thing you've ever eaten?
Oh my goodness. The worst thing I've ever eaten, one of my friends decided to heat up some leftovers, and he used coconut oil to do it, and it was a Mexican dish, and I thought I was going to die.
Oh, yeah.
It was so disgusting.
Yeah, that's not good.
So nothing in the Corvallis area at restaurants. It was,
Okay,
it was
that's
in
good.
my own kitchen.
Perfect. All right, good. Yeah. Oh, I ate somewhere else. It's like, no, don't say that, please. Don't say that. Places you've been. How about the best place you've ever been?
Oh man, I drove the Alaska Highway last year.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so I love the Yukon. It's
that's cool.
amazing.
How long did it take you?
We did it pretty quick. We were gone like 10 days.
Okay.
So we drove up the Alaska Highway, and then we cut across and went to Haines, Alaska, and then came back down.
What
So
time of year?
It was in June.
Okay.
Oh, I got to see baby bears and baby bison. Oh my goodness.
I've been to Alaska once, and it was actually a couple of years ago in April, and it was amazing. It was an absolutely amazing state. Really cool. What about bucket list? Where a place where you would want to go but haven't yet?
Oh yes, and
You're not allowed to say New Zealand or Australia because everyone has said that. So sorry, I'm cutting you off.
Please, come on, people. No, next year's my 50th birthday,
Okay.
2020. Costa Rica, I'm hanging out with sloths. That's been a dream for a while. So that's on the list. And Alaska.
Wait. Costa Rica's been the dream, or sloths?
Sloths, but Costa Rica, because it's kind of a go-to place.
Yeah.
You know. I'm definitely going to go check that out. And one of my friends who teaches bilingual English-Spanish immersion, 3rd grade, is going to come with me. So I'm going to have somebody who speaks fluent Spanish, which will be very nice.
How long are you going to go for?
I'll see what her schedule looks like, but I'd like to go for like 10 days. And Alaska Airlines flies there, so I have free companion fare. So it's like the airfare is going to be
score.
easy.
That's great. Concert.
Oh.
What was your first concert you ever went to?
Well, the first concert.
People are going to judge you on this.
Yeah,
answer.
the first concert I ever went to, I only went there because the older kids
You're making excuses.
Yeah, I know. The older kids that I went to, that I worked with at the restaurant I worked at, took me to ELO.
Oh, really? That's not a bad one.
The first concert that I ever went to on my own, I was 14 years old, and we went and saw Motley Crue when Tommy
Shut
Lee's
up.
drum case spun upside down.
That is awesome. You know, I have not seen Motley Crue live. I would love to see them. Well, it's tough. Well, I guess you could still, but that would be cool.
And, you know, it was back in the...
And you were 14 and you went on your own?
Well, no, I went with a pack of 14-year-old girls.
Oh, okay.
One of the moms was lucky, and we were lucky enough that one of the moms was willing to drop us off and wait for us and pick us up. My mom was not pleased at the whole
I was going to say.
situation.
That sounds like the most irresponsible parent ever. Well
We
done.
were fine.
That's cool. Where did you see him?
Madison, Wisconsin. So I grew up in Wisconsin, so all the fun was in Madison. Yep.
I used to work for a company out of Madison. I love that town.
Me too.
I've been told, and I can kind of see it. I mean, I got to visit, the office. I was in Portland, but the office was back in Madison. So I've been there maybe 10 times. It's kind of like it's like Portland.
Yeah.
It's but tons of lakes.
And a lot of people call it the Eugene of the Midwest because there's a history of protests and other political activities because it's the capital. And so I just grew up with the assumption that every weekend people marched in protests. That's just what you did because that's the way Madison was. And Eugene
what are we gonna do this weekend?
Is like that, right?
What are we protesting today? Oh no. That's cool though. Man, that's a cool concert. That's the best concert answer we've had so far. I love hair bands. Love them.
I will have to have off the clock here. We'll have to have a contest to see who's been to more of them.
So this is great. This is awesome. When you were younger, right? 7-year-old Jackie, right? Wherever you were, I'm sure you didn't grow up and think, you know what? I want to be a bookkeeper one day. I want to be a controller. What did you want to be when you were 7?
When I was 7, I wanted to be an artist.
All right, like painter, artist, or
or some sort of the arts. And so the degree I got is it's a combination liberal studies, mathematics, and art. And then I did math-based art and art-based math for my senior project.
Sometimes that's hard to say.
Yeah, it's so hard to say. And so I definitely when I was young, one of the things I knew probably at 7 years old was I did not want to be a dairy farmer. That was on the list because I grew up on a dairy farm.
Sure.
So I'm not that for sure. Yeah.
So you went from artistry and that kind of the let's just say the artist world. You went from that to very kind of the Excel spreadsheet world. What went wrong? What happened?
Well, it's funny because when
touchy-feely to Nerdville. Come on.
If you had said what did I want to be when I was 9, I would have told you that I remember having a friend over and they're like, let's play, and I'm like, okay, let's play, and they're like, what do you want to do? I'm like, I want to play Office. This is grade school, and so I stole a bunch of my mom's receets.
What happened?
It's the order, putting things in order, getting
really?
to use highlighters. I don't know. I mean, it has its own artistry. I can tell you that. Based on what I do every day, I can tell you there is an artistry when it comes to accounting, and some people have it and some people don't.
Sure. If you could meet somebody famous, who would it be?
Can I meet Obama?
You can meet whoever you like.
I want to meet Obama.
I think most people could understand the obvious why, but why for you?
Well, let me tell you why.
Please tell me why.
So, one of my dearest best friends from Madison, Wisconsin, died of cancer.
Okay.
And he was fighting cancer and got dumped off his insurance and all that stuff when Obama was being elected. So even though he was fighting a disease that was going to kill him in months, he was out knocking on doors because he worked for MoveOn.org for a while. So he was knocking on doors asking people to vote for Obama to fix our healthcare issue until he had to go to hospice. And when he died, I'm going to get teary. He did all these blogs and stuff promoting Obama as part of the MoveOn.org. When he died, Obama sent a letter to his twin brother and said, we are really missing someone special on this planet.
Whoa.
And so Obama's a real human being and he cares.
That's a really cool story. That's cool. That's a good one.
So I'd like to meet him and say, thank you for really recognizing the special person Steve Severson was.
Steve Severson. That's cool. That's a good story.
Yeah.
How about somebody in history who's not alive anymore? You are getting teary. You did get teary-eyed.
I did get, of course.
Do you want to?
Where are the tissues? What kind of establishment is this? There's not even a tissue, people.
I tried to make this clean. Like 20 minutes before we started, this place was a disaster. There probably would have been something on the floor.
I would want to meet somebody like Ben Franklin. Somebody that was a innovator and.
What would you ask Ben?
I just want to go out and have some tea and talk about life. Just see what's on that guy's mind.
But do you think he would be cool to hang out with? Or do you think he's like, kind of like just out there?
That's the thing. That's why I didn't pick some of the
the
other most famous mathematicians, because I think they would probably be so out there and unfriendly that you won't want to hang out with them. So I feel like Ben's one of those people that he did some R&D, he invented some stuff, but he might still have a human side.
I get that.
And there's a great science fiction author that wrote a whole series of books centered around Ben Franklin, but it's like this alternate universe with like advanced technology and stuff.
Nice.
Which also kind of got me on the Ben Franklin groove.
I had somebody one time say that they would love to meet Genghis Khan. And at first I was like, what? Why would you? Oh, it's just a talk, just to ask. Like, why? Like, why? That's craziness.
And from what I've heard, you know, the conventional wisdom is that like 90% of us are relatives of Genghis Khan. Because, so really it's like meeting a great-great-great-grandfather.
Yeah, that makes it. And that makes it slightly creepy as well. You know what I'm saying?
Especially if you're a female. Because who knows what he's going to try to pull when you're with him.
Grim. So, we're kind of wrapping up here. If people, and you should, honestly people, you should, if they want to get a hold of you, how do they do that?
Go JackieShaw.com or look me up on the Chamber website, because I'm a member.
Good one.
Ching, ching.
Good one. Got to be a member. Phone number they can get you at?
541-231-5115.
And your email?
Jackie at GoJackieShaw.com.
Simple.
And I'm an IE. I'm a Jackie with an IE. On the weird Q's or anything going on.
Oh, yeah. Those pretentious Jackies. Just kidding. It's been awesome talking to you. We were just talking when we set this whole thing up. I haven't really spent much time talking to you. That was cool.
I know. I wanted to get together and talk to you so you knew who I was, because we're like roommates, kind of, you know, at the Chamber.
You've just witnessed our first date.
Yes.
It's been good. Yeah, we literally are sitting next to each other. But you're never here. You're always out plowing around fixing stuff.
No, I stay at home. I do almost everything remotely.
Oh, yeah?
I don't commute. And if you asked me how I got into the accounting industry, I would tell you it's because I don't like to commute. My first job in like official accounting was because it was the place that was hiring was right next to the community college. It was like 3 minutes away. I'm like, this is the perfect job for me. I don't know what they want me to do, but as long as I don't have to commute, I'm good.
So when you do email Jackie or call her, chances are you're going to get her in her pajamas with a cup of tea at home, just chilled out. It's been great talking to you.
Yeah, you too.
We will catch you guys on another episode of Chamber Chat. See you later.